The bakery on Oakwood Street glowed warmly against a fading evening light, its windows fogged with sweetness and steam. Lily Harper paused just outside the door, her hand wrapped around her son's small fingers. She took a slow breath, steadying herself, then pushed the door open. A soft bell chimed overhead. Ben's face lit up instantly, as if the world inside had been made just for him. "Mom, look," he whispered, pulling her closer to the counter. Behind the glass display sat the cake Lily had ordered weeks ago. Chocolate layers, smooth blue frosting, tiny stars carefully placed along the edges. In neat white letters across the top was one word that made her heart ache: Ben. She had imagined this moment so many times. Imagine his smile, imagine candles glowing in their small apartment. For months, she had saved every spare dollar, skipping meals, walking to work, telling herself it would be worth it. The baker looked up and smiled. "You must be here for the birthday cake," she said kindly. Lily nodded, but the smile she returned felt fragile. Her phone vibrated in her pocket. She already knew what it was. She had been dreading it all day. Slowly, she glanced down. Final notice. Rent overdue. The amount stared back at her, unforgiving. Her paycheck that morning had been smaller than expected after she missed work caring for Ben during his fever. She had done the math again and again. There was no way around it. Ben leaned closer to the glass. "It's perfect," he said softly, "just like you promised." Something inside Lily cracked. She stepped closer to the counter and lowered her voice. "I'm really sorry," she said to the baker. "I need to cancel the cake." The baker blinked. "Cancel?" "Yes," Lily replied. "I can't take it today." Behind them, a man waiting in line slowly lifted his head. He had been scrolling on his phone, but now his attention was fixed on the quiet exchange. Andrew Collins wore a plain coat and tired expression, nothing that hinted at the fortune tied to his name. He watched without interrupting, sensing the weight of the moment. The baker hesitated. "You already paid a deposit," she said gently. "I could give you a discount." Lily shook her head. "Please don't. Someone else can buy it." Ben turned toward her, confusion clouding his excitement. "Mom!" Lily crouched down, meeting his eyes. "We're not getting the cake today, sweetheart." Ben's lips parted as if to protest, then slowly pressed together. He thought for a moment, then nodded. "That's okay," he said, trying to sound grown up. "We can have bread with candles. Or I'll just make a wish without them." Lily hugged him tightly, closing her eyes so he wouldn't see the tears. She whispered into his hair, "I'm so proud of you." Andrew felt his chest tighten. The boy's brave smile struck something deep and familiar. He remembered being that age, standing alone in grand rooms filled with things but empty of warmth. He had owned many cakes in his life, but none that mattered. Lily stood and faced the baker again. "Thank you for understanding," she said quietly. The baker nodded, her eyes shining. Lily took Ben's hand and walked toward the door. The bell chimed once more as they stepped outside into the cold air. Lily kept her head high, even as her heart sank with every step away from the bakery. Andrew waited a moment, then stepped forward. "Excuse me," he said softly. "The cake they ordered, please keep it." The baker looked up, surprised. "I'm sorry. I'll pay for the rest," Andrew said. "And could you add candles? Extra ones." The baker studied his face, then nodded without question. Outside, Lily and Ben walked slowly down the sidewalk. Lily talked about school and cartoons, anything to keep his mind off what they'd left behind. Still, every laugh felt forced, every word heavier than the last. She told herself tomorrow would be better. She always did. Inside the bakery, the cake was boxed carefully. Andrew took it in his hands, feeling its unexpected weight. It wasn't heavy with frosting or layers. It was heavy with meaning. He glanced through the window and saw Lily and Ben disappear around the corner. "This isn't just a cake," he murmured. Andrew stepped back into the night, a quiet decision forming in his heart. For the first time in years, he knew exactly what he wanted to do next, and it had nothing to do with money, and everything to do with kindness. Lily barely slept that night. She lay on the narrow couch beside Ben's bed, listening to his slow, steady breathing, staring at the cracked ceiling above. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the cake behind the glass, Ben's name written so neatly across the top. She wondered how many promises a parent could break before a child stopped believing. Morning came quietly. Lily woke before her alarm, dressed for work, and made toast the way Ben had suggested. She cut it into careful squares and placed a single candle in the center. When Ben woke, he smiled politely, clapped his hands once, and made a wish without saying it out loud. Lily sang softly, her voice trembling. He hugged her and told her it was the best birthday anyway. That made it worse. That evening, just as Lily was helping Ben with homework, there was a knock at the door. She froze. No one ever knocked unless there was a problem. She opened it cautiously. A delivery driver stood in the hallway, holding a white bakery box tied with blue string. "Delivery for Ben Harper," he said. Lily shook her head. There must be a mistake. The driver checked his list. No mistake. It's already paid for. He handed her the box and walked away before she could ask anything else. Lily stood there for a long moment, heart pounding, then slowly carried the box inside. Ben looked up from the table. "Mom, what's that?" She set it down carefully and untied the string. When she lifted the lid, Ben gasped. Inside was the same cake from the bakery. Chocolate, blue frosting, tiny stars, his name written perfectly across the top. For a second, neither of them spoke. Then Ben laughed, a sound so bright it filled the small apartment. "Mom, it came back." Lily sank into a chair as tears spilled freely down her face. Tucked inside the box was a small card. No name, just a simple message written neatly. Every child deserves to feel celebrated. That night, Ben blew out the candles twice. Lily watched him eat cake with the kind of joy that only children could feel, and for the first time in weeks, her chest felt light. Someone had seen them. Someone had cared. Across town, Andrew Collins stood in his quiet apartment, looking out over the city lights. He had returned home after arranging the delivery, feeling something unfamiliar settle inside him. Peace, maybe, or purpose. He told himself it was a small thing, just a cake. But he couldn't forget Lily's face, the strength she carried so quietly. Days passed and life continued, but something had shifted. Lily noticed small things at first. A grocery store, receipt marked paid. A note from Ben's school saying his lunch balance had been covered by an anonymous donor. A maintenance worker fixing the broken heater, saying it was part of a community program. Each time, Lily felt gratitude mixed with discomfort. She didn't want to rely on unseen help. She wanted control over her life again. Still, she couldn't deny that things felt a little less heavy. 2 weeks later, Lily found herself standing in the lobby of a tall office building, clutching a folder with her resume inside. She had applied for a janitorial position, hoping for better hours and steadier pay. As she waited for the elevator, the doors opened, and she stopped short. The man from the bakery stepped out. Andrew recognized her instantly. For a moment, neither of them spoke. "You," Lily said finally, her voice calm but firm. Andrew nodded. "Hello." "You were there," she said. "That night?" "I was," he replied. Silence stretched between them. "You sent the cake," Lily said. It wasn't a question. "Yes." Lily took a breath. "Thank you. Truly. But I need to understand why." Andrew gestured toward the lobby cafe. "May we sit?" They talked quietly. Andrew didn't mention his wealth. He spoke instead about seeing a moment that reminded him of something he'd lost. Lily listened, arms crossed, guarding her pride. "I don't accept charity," she said at last. Andrew met her gaze. "Neither do I offer it lightly. What I offered was kindness. There's a difference." She studied his face, then nodded slowly. Andrew surprised her again by saying, "I heard you're applying here. There's a training program upstairs. It leads to a permanent position. If you want it, I can recommend you." Lily hesitated. "I don't want favors." "Then earn it," Andrew said simply. Over the following weeks, Lily worked harder than she ever had. She trained, learned, stayed late, proved herself. Andrew kept his distance, watching quietly. Ben sometimes waited in the lobby after school, drawing pictures. Andrew would stop to talk to him. One afternoon, Ben looked up at Andrew and asked, "Did you ever have birthday cake when you were little?" Andrew paused. "Not the kind that mattered." Ben nodded seriously. "You can come to my next birthday. We'll have toast again if we need to." Andrew smiled, feeling something warm settle in his chest. But life had a way of testing even the best intentions. One evening, Andrew received a call. A major business expansion overseas. A move that would require him to leave the city indefinitely. He looked out the window, thinking of a small apartment, a brave little boy, and a cake that had changed more than he ever expected. Some choices, he realized, mattered far beyond business. The call came late at night. Andrew stood by the window of his high-rise apartment. Phone pressed to his ear, watching the city stretch endlessly below him. Lights blinked like distant stars, beautiful and cold. The voice on the other end spoke about opportunities, expansion, overseas offices, and timelines. It was everything Andrew had worked for his entire life. Yet his thoughts were somewhere else entirely. When the call ended, he remained still for a long time. In his reflection on the glass, he barely recognized himself. Success had always demanded movement, distance, sacrifice. But for the first time, leaving felt like loss instead of progress. Across town, Lily sat at the small kitchen table, folding laundry while Ben colored beside her. Life had improved in quiet, steady ways. Her training job had become permanent. The fridge was fuller. The heater worked. Still, she guarded her heart carefully, reminding herself that stability could disappear just as quickly as it arrived. "Mom," Ben said suddenly, holding up his drawing. "This is us." Lily smiled. The picture showed 3 stick figures holding hands. One was taller than the others. "Who's that?" she asked gently. Ben shrugged. "I don't know. Someone who stays." The words settled heavily in Lily's chest. The next morning, Andrew asked Lily to meet him after work. They sat on a bench outside the building, autumn leaves skittering across the pavement. For a moment, neither spoke. "I have to leave," Andrew said finally. "For business." Lily nodded slowly. "I figured. I didn't want to disappear without telling you," he continued. "You and Ben deserve more respect than that." She looked at him, studying his face. "You don't owe us anything." "I know," Andrew said, "but I want you to understand something. What I did, it wasn't about saving anyone. It was about seeing someone strong and choosing not to look away." Lily felt a tightness in her throat. Kindness doesn't usually come without strings. "I won't tie any," Andrew replied. "That's my promise." Before leaving, Andrew handed Lily a folder. Inside were documents outlining a community initiative, funding for local bakeries, job training programs, and food assistance run with dignity, not publicity. "I want you to lead this," he said. Lily stared at the papers. "Me?" "You understand need without exploiting it," Andrew said. "That matters." She hesitated. "If I accept this, it's not because of you. It's because I can help others." Andrew smiled. "That's exactly why I chose you." That evening, Andrew stopped by Lily's apartment to say goodbye to Ben. The boy ran to him with a card folded crookedly in his hands. "I made this," Ben said proudly. Inside, Andrew saw a picture of a cake, 3 candles, and 3 people holding hands. "You're my cake friend," Ben said seriously, "even if you go far away." Andrew knelt, his voice thick. "Thank you for letting me be part of your birthday." As he left the building that night, Andrew felt a heaviness he couldn't explain. Some goodbyes lingered longer than expected. Months passed. Lily threw herself into the program Andrew had started. She worked long hours, learned budgets and permits, partnered with local bakers, and created a system where struggling parents could receive birthday cakes without shame. No forms explaining hardship. No judgment. Just quiet understanding. On the wall of the first participating bakery, Lily hung a simple sign. Every child deserved a cake. Ben helped whenever he could, handing out napkins, greeting customers, beaming with pride. Lily watched him grow more confident, more secure. She realized that what Andrew had given them wasn't money or opportunity alone. It was a belief that kindness could be trusted. A year later, Ben's birthday came again. Lily closed the bakery early that evening. She and Ben baked a cake together at home, flour on their noses, laughter filling the apartment. It wasn't fancy. It didn't need to be. As Lily lit the candles, there was a knock at the door. She froze, heart skipping. When she opened it, she saw Andrew standing there, holding a small box. "You're late," Ben said, grinning. Andrew laughed softly. "I had to keep a promise." Lily felt tears rise, unexpected and overwhelming. "You came back." "I told you kindness doesn't disappear," Andrew said. "Sometimes it just takes the long way around." They sat together, sharing cake and quiet conversation. Andrew didn't talk about business or money. He asked Ben about school. Listen as Lily talked about the program's success. Later, as Ben fell asleep on the couch, Andrew spoke softly. "I don't want to replace anything in your lives. I just want to be part of it, if you'll let me." Lily looked at him, truly looked at him, and saw not a billionaire, but a man who had chosen empathy over distance. "We'll take things one day at a time," she said. Andrew nodded. "That's all I'm asking." The final scene came not with grand gestures, but with quiet routine. Lily locking the bakery door, Ben skipping ahead, Andrew holding the door open. A simple family, built not on wealth but on care. And somewhere in a small bakery window, a cake sat beneath warm lights, waiting for a child who would never have to wonder if they were worth celebrating. Sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever. A cake, a helping hand, or simply noticing someone in need. These are the moments that create real family, real love, and real hope. Never underestimate the power of caring.